Hi, my name is Marie Walker, and this is the third of a four-part series of workshops called Looking Ahead. Today we're going to be discussing death decluttering, which is not anybody's favorite subject, but it's something that really needs to be talked about. So we will dive right in and learn about what you can do and ways to minimize the stress, both for the future when you die, but also if you're taking care of someone else and their things. Why does it matter to you? Why should you even bother thinking about it? Well, because whether we like it or not, everybody is going to die sooner or later. And so if you think about it and spend some time looking ahead, you will be much better off. It's really easy to just let the things pile up over the years, and you quietly don't realize how much stuff your house has, how much you have to deal with. And so it's kind of one of those things that can surprise you, and you look around one day and realize this is a problem. There are two kinds of decluttering: for yourself and for someone else. Now, if you're doing it for yourself, you have some advantages, even if you look around right now and you feel completely overwhelmed. Cleaning guru Don Aslett said, "I think junk and clutter cause tons of divorce and tons of depression. Nothing will change your life faster than when you throw away your junk, you have more time, you have more space, and you feel better, you're healthier." It is interesting that almost everyone acknowledges that they feel better when they're in clean, uncluttered surroundings. And yet, there is very little scientific data on the effects of decluttering. But there are a lot of experiences that people have had where they improve everything about their life simply by rearranging. Now, it's important to know what decluttering isn't. It isn't stuff shifting. It isn't rearranging. It isn't buying a new shelving unit. It isn't sorting into slots or drawers or baskets or getting the perfect organizer, because decluttering isn't organizing. Decluttering is stuff that you don't need leaving your house. And according to cleaning expert Dana White, that's really all it is. If 5 things leave your house or 500 things leave, you've succeeded. I really like this little cartoon. Have a system. Yeah, we live in a society with such abundance that it's really easy to find ourselves emotionally and sometimes physically buried in the clutter. Now, decluttering for yourself has many benefits. It's peace for you and for others. It is a huge reduction of stress. It's less maintenance. You don't have to take care of everything. You don't have to worry about cleaning it, storing it, paying for it, guarding it. You just get rid of it. It's less maintenance. You can make some money if you're able to sell stuff. You can make sure that everyone in your family gets what they want, and you get to see them enjoy it instead of waiting until you're gone. Leonard Cohen, the music composer, said, "Putting your house in order, if you can do it, is one of the most comforting activities, and the benefits of it are incalculable." Now, today I'm going to be quoting from 4 main authors who are each gurus in their own area. First of all, there's a delightful book written by Margareta Magnusson called The Gentle Art of Swedish Death Cleaning. Margareta describes herself as being between 80 and 100 years old, and this book is surprisingly fun and enjoyable to read, even if you're nowhere near 80 to 100 years old. She's very inspiring, and she without using any guilt, helps you see the blessings of simplifying your life. And it's really, really good. All of her comments are going to be in this blue font, so you can tell easily that it comes from her. Marie Kondo is really famous right now, and her book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, has transformed many, many people's lives. Hers are written in red and in kind of a Japanese typescript. Dana K. White is kind of the opposite of Marie Kondo. Marie is a very, very organized person. Dana is a not naturally organized person. So for some people, one author will make them crazy and the other one will totally speak to them. But I find all of them have many principles that either overlap or are the same, just presented in different ways. Because really, truly, getting it out is the most important thing. Dana wrote Decluttering at the Speed of Life, and hers are in pink, and we will see a lot from her. And Don Aslett probably wrote one of the first major books on decluttering in the 80s, Clutter's Last Stand. And he is still one of the go-to guys for decluttering and just de-junking your life. Now, it's important to know in Margareta Magnusson's book, and I'm going to slaughter the pronunciation since I don't speak Swedish at all. Döstädning comes from the words for death and cleaning, and it's a Swedish term that means minimizing or removing unnecessary things and making your home nice and orderly when you think the time is coming closer for you to leave the planet. But don't you want your life to be nice and orderly before you're going to die? So it's a nice thing to think about and to start working on way before it's time for you to leave the planet. Here is a very fun cartoon about, actually, it's from a cartoon called Pajama Diaries. And she says, Swedish death cleaning is a thing. It's ridding yourself of stuff now so that no one else has to do it when you die. It makes life more meaningful and helps you focus on people instead of things. It even helps you face your own mortality. And of course, less clutter equals less stress and more productivity. On the flip side, the clutter has to go somewhere. And her mom is saying, your brother doesn't want my furniture, so you're getting all of it. She says, I think I'll need that book. Death cleaning is as much or more for you as for the people who come after you. Now, an important thing, Margareta says, the intention is not that we should remove things that make our lives pleasant and more comfortable, but if you can't keep track of your things, then you know you have too many. Death cleaning is something you can do for yourself, for your own pleasure. And if you start early, Margareta says, say at 65, it won't seem like such a huge task when you, like me, are between 80 and 100. One's own pleasure and the chance to find meaning and memory is the most important thing. It is a delight to go through things and remember their worth. And if you don't remember why a thing has meaning or why you kept it, it has no worth and it will be easier for you to part with. Today, I meet many relatively young people who do not have children of their own. And one might think, well, if I have no children, therefore, I need not death clean. Wrong. Someone will need to clean up after you. Whoever it may be will find it a burden. She goes on to say, I have death cleaned so many times for others. I'll be damned if someone else has to death clean after me. Once someone is gone, there can be chaos enough anyway, I can tell you. There are many sad stories about siblings who start to quarrel because they want the same item. This type of situation does not need to happen. We can plan in advance to lessen the chances of these unhappy moments. If you talk about it now, you will simplify the whole process. Talk to your children and your other family members about what they want. Find out if they actually want the things that you think and assume that they would. Then, after you find out what others want, share them so you can share in their joy and enjoyment. Do be aware that as our culture changes, things that used to be valuable heirlooms may not be anymore. There is not much of a market for most china. and nobody wants grandma's silver plate utensils. Fur coats have very little market value, and so things that traditionally were valuable heirlooms aren't. And sometimes things that you don't think have particular value are the things that someone else finds most significant. So communication is always the key. Now, doing it yourself can be difficult, but it is truly worth it. Margareta says, I recommend taking it slowly. Even 10 minutes every day will produce drastic results. Decluttering is both emotional and physical, and it is important to be prepared to cope with the effects of both. Think about the memories that are attached to the stuff, both good and bad. Allow yourself the chance to process them. Take pictures of precious things. Document stories and memories. She said, I've discovered that it is rewarding to spend time with these objects one last time and then dispose of them. Each item has its own history, and remembering that history is often enjoyable. When I was younger, I never used to have the time to sit down and think about what an object meant to me in my life or where it came from, or when and how it came into my possession. The difference between death cleaning and just a big cleanup is the amount of time they consume. She said, there are a few things I would like to say for myself only, things that make me remember events I may forget otherwise. Old love letters, programs, memories from traveling. I've gathered all these personal things in a box that I have marked throw away. And when I'm gone, my family can throw it away with no guilt. Where do you begin? How do you even know where to start? First of all, be aware that downsizing your home will take time. And Margareta says, old people seem to think that time goes so quickly, but in fact, it is we who have become slower. So do not wait too long. This new job of yours will not be completed any faster if you wait, but with a little practice and preparation, it will certainly be easier for you to make decisions about how to get rid of things. Trust me, the more time you spend going through your belongings, the easier it will be for you to decide what to keep and what not to. The more you work at it, the less time-consuming it will become. We often find ourselves with some disconnect between our brain and our heart. In her wonderful book about preparing for the future, Katie Butler says, as energy becomes a precious and limited resource, simplifying is a survival skill. I've learned to beware the disease of one more thing, the attempt to squeeze one more movie, dinner, car trip, or party into a weekend. My husband and I find that when we do less, we enjoy what we do more. We try to let go of the unimportant and stick with what gives us the most meaning, comfort, and joy. This is a fine time to think about what you hold dear and make sure you are spending your precious time doing it. Moving to a smaller house, reducing the size of a lawn and the number of mutual fund accounts, putting bills on auto pay, and decluttering possessions can help you stay independent longer. Keep the tasks of daily life manageable as energy and mental clarity wane. You can also apply the principle of simplification to the doctors you see, the health screenings you permit, and the pills you take. Dana White says, the container concept, basic idea is this. The purpose of a container is to contain, as the dictionary says, to keep under proper control, to prevent or limit the expansion, influence, success, or advance of, to succeed in preventing the spread of. Containers are limits. They keep clutter from spreading. They keep stuff under proper control by preventing and limiting the expansion of that stuff. I always thought the purpose of containers was to hold stuff. That's why I kept buying more when the ones I had were full and I still had stuff that needed to be held. I was wrong. A container is a limit. Even your house is a container. You don't need a bigger house. Dana goes on to say, I lived in home after home, believing my problem was the size of my house. Understanding, accepting, and implementing the container concept in my home changed that. I realized the house I have is the house I have. If It's important to remember the difference between needs and wants and what we end up with. When we live for now, in the house we have, and in the city we are, and in the moment when we're alive, means not being tied to the past or living in some imaginary future when we're better than we are now, where we might get around to something. Living for now is honestly living our reality. One of the problems of decluttering is first person versus third person. The idea that my stuff is valuable, your stuff is not so much. I had valid reasons why I behaved like that. You were just being a jerk. There are many things where we interpret our behavior or our point of view as being the correct one and other people as being incorrect or flawed. That's first person versus third person. It means we interpret my stuff as treasure, your stuff as trash. We all have to be honest as we assess the stuff that we've acquired over the years. And this means that no, it is not all my husband's crap. It's important as we work because to compress, as Margareta says, to compress the contents of a roomy home with a spacious garden into a 2-room apartment with a balcony is not done in a few hours. This is a long haul project. If you're doing it right, it's going to take months, possibly years, and that's okay, as long as you actually start and as long as you don't give up. Marie Kondo gives some important rules. She says the 2 tasks of decluttering are simply discarding, and once you've done that, deciding where to keep things. She says, for best results, I ask that you adhere faithfully to the following rule. Tidy in the right order. There are only 2 tasks involved, discarding and deciding where to keep things. Just 2, but discarding must come first. Be sure to completely finish the first task before starting the next. Do not even think of putting your things away until you finish the process of discarding. Failure to follow this order is one reason many people never make permanent progress. In the middle of discarding, they start thinking about where to put things. As soon as they think, I wonder if it'll fit in this drawer, the work of discarding comes to a halt. You can think about where to put things after you've finished getting rid of everything you don't need. One of her important rules is a change of mindset. We should be choosing what we want to keep, not what we want to get rid of. It's about our mental real estate. Do we have room for that? What are the things that make life the most valuable and the most worthwhile? She continues, ask yourself why for each answer. Repeat this process 3 to 5 times for each item. Why do I want to keep this? As you continue to explore the reasons behind your ideal lifestyle, you will come to a simple realization. The whole point in both discarding and keeping things is to be happy. It may seem obvious, but it is important to experience this realization for yourself and let it sink into your heart. Before you start tidying, look at the lifestyle you aspire to and ask yourself, why do I want to tidy? When you find the answer, you are ready to move on to the next step, which is examining what you own. A common mistake many people make is to decide where to store things on the basis of where it's easiest to take them out. This approach is a fatal trap. Clutter is caused by a failure to return things to where they belong. Therefore, storage should reduce the effort needed to put things away, not the effort to get them out. When we use something, we have a clear purpose for getting it out. Unless for some reason it is incredibly hard work, we usually don't mind the effort involved. Clutter has only 2 possible causes. Too much effort is required to put things away, or it is unclear where things belong. If we overlook this vital point, we are likely to create a system that results in clutter. According to Marie Kondo, there are only 2 ways of there are 2 rules. Store all items of the same type in the same place. Don't scatter your storage space. And there are only 2 ways of categorizing belongings. by type of item and by person. Store everything similar in the same place or in close proximity. Don't disperse your storage space. Don't have craft supplies stored all over the house and clothes in every closet. There are some important rules. Marie Kondo is very, very firm on reminding us to always think in terms of category, not place. So she says to collect everything that falls within the same category at one time and sort it all together. And make sure you discard everything that does not make your life better before you find a place to organize all of it and store it all together. There are some general rules that all of the organizing books agree on. The general rules are: start with the big stuff. Marie Kondo doesn't address furniture, but Margareta Magnuson does, because she is trying to simplify your entire life. So the biggest thing is furniture. Start looking at it. Next thing everybody advises: clothes. Pretty much everyone has too many clothes, and you can easily get rid of things that don't fit, that don't look good, or are stained or wrinkled, or you just don't like the way they feel. Get rid of them. Don't keep them. Go from less personal things to more personal things, large to small, and make sure you do photographs last, because they have so many memories that they can easily suck you in. So store them all together in one box for after you've got everything else done. As you're doing this important job, you will find things that are really emotionally difficult, and it's okay to box them up and save the hard stuff for later when you're feeling stronger. Remember that you want to go slow and steady, and that your goal is to minimize. And you also want to label and write down stories about things and make sure that you clearly identify where it came from, why it's important, who it belongs to, and who it's going to if you're not giving it to them right at this moment. Communication. Communication is always the key. It's the key to happiness and successful planning. Make sure that you take time to reminisce and enjoy. And as you're going through, offer things to family members first, or the people who have the memories of that item, and to friends next. There is a particular order of sorting. This comes from Marie Kondo, but everyone agrees that this is really an effective way to do it. First, start with clothes, then books, then papers. You notice that this is following the large to small rule, then miscellany, and last of all, mementos and photographs. It's very important to remember not to love what can't love you back. Don Eslett said that. And that changes the way you look at the things. Does this love you back? I don't think so. No matter how great that pair of pants is, they can't love you back. As you work on downsizing, you will find yourself becoming more and more free. It will feel seriously like a weight has been lifted off your shoulders. Or in the immortal words of Fight Club, the things you own end up owning you. And as you downsize them, you become free. Ask yourself Margareta's question: will anyone I know be happier if I save this? And if the answer is no, don't save it. There are a lot of hobbies and interests that make our lives fuller and more enjoyable. But it is time to take a hard, honest look at your supplies and see what you can clean out or downsize. While you're at it, make a plan for taking care of them when you're gone. Make sure that you are clear in where they go, who they go to. Make sure that it's easy to contact the right people and that it's clearly marked what they get. Remember to accept limitations of the space you have and declutter enough that your stuff fits comfortably in that space, not some ideal potential in the future. Be honest with the space you have right now. As Dana White said, the question wasn't whether something had worth, it was whether it fit in my container. And that let me go get rid of things I once thought I never could. The decision became, do I like this more than that? Favorite things got first dibs at container space. Things I liked, but that weren't really favorites, could totally stay guilt-free as long as there was space in the container. Things that didn't have a current purpose or didn't get didn't get to stay, and I didn't even feel bad about that because there simply wasn't space. The container made the decision. This is wise. Our excessive possessions are not making us happy. Even worse, they are taking us away from the things that do. Talk to your loved ones about what they want and don't want. Margareta was very surprised when she talked to her children. There were some things that she assumed they would want, and it turned out that they didn't. What a relief for her to know ahead of time. She was able to sell or give those things away without any guilt or bad feelings. If someone wants something, give it to them now. If several people want the same thing, you can all work together to find the best possible solution. There may be heirlooms. Make sure that you label them and record their stories and pass them on now. Important photos are vital for history, for keeping track of things, but if they aren't labeled with their stories recorded, they lose their value. As my friend said, information is the only difference between precious memories and trash. It's tragic, but it's true. Margareta said, a loved one wishes to inherit nice things from you, not all things from you. Then you ask if anybody wants it. If the answer is no, you can sell it, you can thrift it, you can toss it. You don't need a heap of clutter to bring back happy memories of those you love. You don't have to save the item. If it's an especially significant thing, or if it's large or bulky or hard to handle, take a picture of it. Take a picture of it with the person who's involved in it if you're able to. And then you can get rid of the item and keep the picture. You have questions of what can I do with all this stuff? Regift it, pass it on, sell it, donate it, or toss it. You should sell it if, here are the rules. Only sell it if it's worth more than the cost of selling. Make sure that you're only selling stuff you already have. So don't think about going to auctions or yard sales and getting more to make a profit. Right now, clearing out is all you're focused on. Is it worth more than the cost of selling, including the cost of supplies, the cost of time, the cost of packing and shipping supplies and postage and driving it back and forth to wherever it needs to go? All of those are actual costs. Are you motivated enough to be able to organize the sale and the follow through? How are you selling it? Are you selling the items individually, like on eBay, or are you selling in a group, like a yard sale? You can donate it if the stuff is in good condition, because charities don't want trash any more than you do. If the question of donating versus tossing doesn't immobilize you and make you so stressed that you can't think, or you can donate it if you just can't deal with trying to sell it. Donating actually has several really strong positives. It allows your excess to bless other people's lives. It's relatively easy to get rid of a lot of stuff at one time, especially since a lot of thrift stores will do a pickup if you have over a certain amount of stuff. You can call and schedule it, and they will come to your house, load it up on a truck, and take it away. And you might be able to get a tax write-off. You don't have to necessarily donate officially to a charity or a thrift store. You can look around and find out, are there any young couples who are just starting out or college students who need the things that you have extras of? Look around, see whose life you can bless with your stuff. If you have a bunch of towels and blankets, you can see if your local animal shelter can use them. And you might get to pet some of the kitties and dogs while you do it. When in doubt, throw it out. But don't feel guilty. You have my permission. This is the time when you need to get it out. So, here are Dana White's rules for when you're feeling overwhelmed and you don't know where to begin on clearing out your clutter. Step 1 is trash. The easiest of the easy stuff. Trash is easy. Start with the most visible mess. Just look around and remove the trash. If the mess is 3 feet deep, just get the trash you can see without moving anything else. And then, if this step alone is completely overwhelming, look into renting a dumpster. They can be surprisingly affordable. Step 2 is do the easy stuff, which is the stuff that has an established home somewhere else, but for whatever reason isn't there. The easy stuff is, why is there a hockey stick in the middle of the living room? That's easy. It has a place it's supposed to go. Take it there. Step 3 is what Dana calls the clutter. And you stick clutter in the donate box. It shouldn't be a thing, but it totally is. It's that stuff that at the first quick glance, you know is clutter. Why am I even saving that thing? I don't even like that thing. Just get rid of it. Step 4, ask yourself Dana's 2 decluttering questions. First, decluttering question 1 is, if I needed this item, where would I look for it first? Take it there right now. Decluttering question number 2 is, if I needed this item, would it ever occur to me that I already had one? That's an important question to ask yourself. Step 5 is make it fit. Now, this does not mean cramming more crap into a smaller space. It means apply the container concept. Make it fit correctly within the container you have. Purge down to the limits of the container. Consolidate your stuff. Put, as Marie Kondo says, all of the like items together. And then, as you go through them, you will find a lot of things that you can just get rid of, no problem, no decision. And when it fits into the limits of the container that's available, you're done. Put it away, you're fine. Do not ever imagine that anyone will wish or be able to schedule time off to take care of what you didn't bother to take care of yourself. No matter how much they love you, don't leave this burden to them. Decluttering for someone else can have some really hard issues, which can include time pressure, emotions, family issues. When you're facing these issues, make sure that you're communicating clearly with other family members, with anyone else who's involved. You can consider getting professional help from an auction house or a professional estate sale company. One thing that a lot of people worry about is making sure that cleaning is proceeding normally. They ask me, I have a box of my mom's stuff that I've had for 10 years. Is that normal? It's fine. It's a coping mechanism. And usually you'll get to a place where you're more able to address it after a little while, and you can do it then, and it will be good. Some options to consider. Having a free yard sale. This is one of my very, very favorite options. I love the free yard sale. You set everything out with a big sign that says free. You don't have to stick around to make change or to watch over everything. You just put it out and you continue cleaning and putting more stuff out as you come across it. It's wonderful. You can consider a big giveaway. Chanel Reynolds, when she was preparing to move after the death of her husband, she cleared out her house with what she called the big giveaway. She said, I announced on Facebook that I was moving and the big giveaway was about to begin. I had tons of stuff that I didn't need and others would likely use and want. They could have it for free on the unlikely condition that if One day, I could ask for it back if I needed it again. I assumed I wouldn't, but just in case a year or two later I needed a lawnmower or a giant crock pot, I wouldn't have to spend money on something I'd just given away. I posted a bunch of pictures. Someone said, "Me, please," and then came in to get it. I loaded up friends' cars and watched loads of our wedding presents and garage sale finds drive away with happy new owners. Years later, I have an album of photos I can look at if I want to know who got the pressure cooker, but I haven't once wanted or needed any of it back. It took months to sell the house, but only a week to get rid of so much stuff. I stood in a completely empty garage. I gave it all away. Even the shelves that used to hold everything were packed in a truck headed down the alley. We thought the new house and nicer stuff would make us happier. It didn't. You can consider having an appraiser look at it or hiring someone to deal with it. And remember that thrift shops will often do a pickup. There are two kinds of decluttering, and very much like you can lose 10 pounds over the course of a few months without it being much of a big deal at all, or you can lose it over the course of 10 days with a bad case of double pneumonia, which is miserable and not recommended in any way. Cleaning and decluttering are kind of the same way. If you do it gradually, you can do it easily and with fairly little stress. But if you do crisis cleaning, it will be stressful and it will be much, much more difficult. Now, you need to consider how you're going to get rid of the majority of stuff in your home. You have a lot of options, and all of them have their own pros and cons. There is no one right answer, but knowing what your options are will help you make the choice that is right for you. Estate sale or auction? Sell it yourself? Donate all of it. Yard sale, free yard sale, big giveaway. You honestly need to consider the time and energy constraints that you are working under. When I had my last free yard sale, I had a lady come to the door and knock to ask if everything was really free. And I told her, yes, it was. And she said, even these curtains, they're still in good shape. And I told her that they were, and she burst into tears. She was fixing up a garage apartment for her son and daughter-in-law, and they were exactly what she needed. I asked her what else she needed, and as she told me, it reminded me of several other things that I had meant to take out that I was able to bless her with and send her home, and it made both of us happy. Chanel Reynolds said, try organizing your own giveaway. You can even do a mini version at a gathering or dinner party. Ask people to bring something they may love but don't use or wear and are ready to give away. You can suggest a theme like for the kitchen, awesome coats, or something you cherish that no longer serves you. At the end, everyone gets to leave with something new that I bet they'll like and use more than what they brought from home. Or follow or modify these suggestions. Make a list or snap pictures of the items you want to give away. No need to stage manage the photos. Shoot the items wherever they are, such as in your garage, basement, closet, or storage. Send the written list and or photos with a short description of each item to friends and family through email or social media. Be sure to ask who wants it. Whoever replies first wins. In my giveaway, which I conducted through Facebook, the first person to say me in the comments section got the thing. All they had to do was come and get it. Confirm a time and day when folks can come and get the stuff, like anytime Saturday between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Now, do remember that if you share your giveaway list with the general public, that you are careful to protect your address, phone number, and other personal information. Now, if you plan to sell some pieces to an antique dealer, load up your car with as many of those items as you can on the first day, or at most the first week, and take them to sell or be appraised. If you're planning to personally sell them online, choose 3 items that you're certain will bring a lot of money and list them for sale today. This is your reality check. If you sell them, you'll gain the experience of selling, and you'll be able to keep on selling things as you continue decluttering the home. If you go to all that trouble and the antique dealer doesn't want anything you brought, or the online listing brings no interest at all, your perspective on the other items in the house will change. But Do not start making a pile or a room of things, all the things that you'll sell one day when you have time. Your job now is to clear it out. If you're planning to hire an estates or auction company, ask friends in the area of the home for recommendations now before you get very far into the process. Interview some of the ones recommended and get their perspective on what your role will be in the process. Will they charge you a flat fee or a percentage of the proceeds of the sale? How much will they be involved in categorizing and organizing the sale? Who will be responsible for getting rid of the things that don't sell? And if you decide to hire someone for this, your job now is to remove the things that you want to keep before they take over. Remember the rule: replace, don't add. If you're living in an empty house with no furniture and few dishes, feel free to bring all the stuff from this house that you're decluttering home with you. But if you're already living with everything you need or more than you need, that simply isn't an option. If you're at the capacity of your container already, replacing is the only option. If something comes into your home, it needs to replace something else. If you aren't willing to let your mother's slow cooker replace your slow cooker, hers needs to be donated. Grab your phone and walk around your house, getting photos of entire rooms, closets, and even behind cabinet doors and inside drawers. Do this so that when you're tempted to bring something home, you will know for sure whether there's space for it in your home. Now, if worst comes to worst, and you are stuck doing a crisis cleaning where you're under a tight time deadline and you have a huge amount to do, there is a plan for how to do that. This is how to clean the most area in the shortest amount of time while minimizing the chaos and maximizing your effectiveness. First of all, plan low-stress meals. Plan reasonably nutritious food that you can eat easily and quickly so that you don't fall back on terrible stuff as a default. Maybe have it in the crock pot so that it's already hot and ready to go. Plan to stay hydrated. Water is the best for keeping you hydrated if you're willing to drink it. You might choose to add some flavor to keep things interesting, and ice if you like it, and have a large spill-proof water bottle. Don't ask me how I know that rule. Assemble your tools. Besides your water bottle, you'll want to have your phone, some Kleenex because sorting gets dusty. And if you need to take allergy meds, make sure to take them before you start. Have your favorite note-taking method, which can be your phone or a pen and paper, and a bunch of cardboard boxes along with markers and trash bags. All containers that you use need to be disposable. These are the things that you can drop off at a thrift shop without any guilt. Not a cute, thing to take. Nope. This is one you want to be able to drop the container and all. You might consider, depending on what kind of a mess you're dealing with, having rubber gloves, a dust mask, and a bandana to tie over your hair to keep it clean and out of your face. Prepare. Before you begin, take care of small distractions. Make sure you have your hair contained. You don't have dry lips or hangnails. Eat. Go to the bathroom. Make sure you have good sturdy shoes on and clothes to keep you the right temperature. If you're in a house where the temperature might go up or down, you might want to have a sweater or a hoodie so that you can adjust if you need to. Turn on some upbeat music or a good podcast. Designate separate areas for stuff to be donated, for trash, and for things that go to specific people, because you do not want to get those containers mixed up. You definitely need a trash. You may also want a box for shredding or recycling. You will need a box or bag for donations. You can have whatever other categories you need, which might include school papers, college papers, games, photos, music. Don't get distracted sorting them into smaller categories at this point. Just get them into the boxes so that you can get them out of the house. Begin. Set a timer for 15 minutes. Start at the door and work clockwise. When the timer goes off, get up and move around so you don't get stiff. If you have a lot of rooms to do, switch to the next room. After 3 15-minute sessions, it's time to take a 15-minute break. But make sure you set the timer, and when it goes off, get right back to work. Only handle it once. Don't move it from one pile to another so that you're dealing with the same stuff over and over. You need to be effective, so make it so that you only touch it one time. Remember, you don't have to stop everything to get organized. You just have to start. Start somewhere, right now. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself through the whole process, whether you are doing your own decluttering or decluttering for someone else. Listen to your body. This is very demanding, both physically and emotionally, and you need to be as gentle as possible with yourself. Learn the lesson that if you do this for yourself, you won't be putting anyone else through it. There are many people who find themselves wishing, uh, I don't think anyone finds himself, I wish I should have bought more crap. Nobody on their deathbed is wishing that they spent more time in the office or more time buying crap. My wife's grandmother always told us, you can do hard things, which is very true. You will be able to get through this, and having good tools will help you do it in the best way possible. Now, I would appreciate it if you would go to the comments and fill out a copy of the survey, because this class is for my practicum, and to get a grade, I need to have your survey responses. Please do this as soon as possible so that I can get my grade in. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it.